Hi, I'm Melissa with Sagebrush Wellness, and I am so excited for you to join me today. We're going to be talking about the surprising causes for symptoms that just won't go away, right? Surprising myths and truths about what is causing continued symptoms in our bodies. First of all, let's go over what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be looking at a new epidemic that is happening right now around us. We're going to be looking at symptoms. We're going to be looking at common families among parasites. That's what we're going to be talking about. And then we'll be discussing 2 case studies that I'm working with right now and what is happening when we address this cause for continued symptoms. I'm excited to share this with you today. So let me introduce our team. We are a team of functional medicine and holistic practitioners. Each one of us have our own area of specialty. We've been working in the field of autoimmune and chronic illness for over 7 years. We work with clients who are very young up to clients who are very elderly or at an advanced age. So this is me in the left-hand corner. The next one in is Nicole. The next one in is Heather, and the one on the far right is Janelle. And we love serving our clients. So let's dig in. So, the new epidemic that we are facing here in our country today is parasites. And this is something that's been ignored by conventional medicine as well as functional and holistic medicine in a big way, because we didn't really have the tools to deal with it, right? So what is a parasite? It is an organism that lives on or in a host organism and gets its food from or at the expense of its host. Think about that, right? Parasites can be the root cause of many of your chronic health issues. Autoimmune issues, food sensitivities, and gut problems may all be traced back to parasites. And I just want to pop in here and say, especially holistic practitioners have been taught to look for heavy metal toxicity, mold toxicity, bacteria, viral infections, sluggish bile flow, all the things, right? And those are correct. But often parasites actually harbor mold in their bodies, bacteria in their bodies, viral in their bodies, heavy metals. If we just work on getting rid of those things that we normally would work with as a holistic or functional medicine practitioner, we're not really getting rid of why those things continue to stay. The parasites that are actually harboring those things in their bodies and inside our bodies, right? So we can have minimal effect or maybe moderate effect of actually working on those types of toxicities, that heavy metals, molds, all the things that we're taught to look for, right? But we're not able to actually really solve the issue, solve the symptoms. And oftentimes this is why, because we're not taught to address the parasites that are actually harboring these things in their own bodies and attached to us on the inside, okay? I know, kind of gross, but it makes a whole lot of sense, especially if you've been working on your autoimmune condition for quite some time and it's become a real frustration to you that, I'm doing everything right. Why can't I really kick this? Okay, so this could be one of the reasons. So how do we get parasites? We can be contaminated or infected through blood transfusions, through food, from other people, from our pets and animals, through the soil, through surfaces that are touched by multiple people, toilets, water. Amoebas love to travel through water. So let's look quickly at some of the signs and symptoms of parasites. What does it actually mean? And I've actually put a live link on the screen here for a Do I Have Parasites questionnaire that people like to use to just kind of get an idea around, do I have these, right? So some of the symptoms are things like skin issues, rashes, hives, eczema, that kind of thing, psoriasis. Alternating constipation and diarrhea. Stomach ulcers, it's a big one. Abdominal pain and cramping. Mood disorder, depression, anxiety, or suicidal thoughts. We've not been taught to really look for this, right, in connection with parasites, but a lot of the emotional, like the things that we deal with, especially if somebody has a really hard time in like depression or anxiety, we need to think about parasites for them. Dark circles under the eyes, allergies and or food sensitivities. Night sweats. We think that's hormones, right? Sometimes it is, but oftentimes at the bottom of it is parasites. Colds, flu, sore throats, loss of appetite or hungry all the time. Strong sugar and processed food cravings, like we just have to have a fix, right? We have to have something sweet. Eye floaters, blurry or unclear vision. Menstrual problems, girls, ladies. When we think about what's happening with our periods, we need to think about this piece as well. Lethargy, apathy, just no energy. Headaches, migraines, numbness in extremities. I see this a lot in autoimmune conditions, especially things like MS, multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, the pain. Nodules or cysts. I see this a lot in ladies who have, ovarian cysts and things like that. We need to be thinking about this. Cancer, right? So what is a myth? This is something that's been prevalent, and every time I have a client come in who has parasites and we discover that, and maybe they've even talked to their practitioner about it, but we'll be told we don't have a parasite problem in our country. You might have one, when in reality we often have a broad range of parasites in our bodies. So that's a myth that parasites are a problem in developed countries. Another problem that we have is that we don't have really good testing for parasites. And this is a real frustration for the practitioners like myself who are really working in this area and finding true relief for people, because there's no good way that I know of to do a good, stool test, blood test, urine test, whatever you want to say. We have some good high-level stool tests that can help, but the biggest clues I find are in our blood work. And we can look at increased levels of eosinophils. This is merely a clue and not always reliable. Anemia, constant anemia and low iron. This is just right on. This is a huge clue. Low alkaline phosphatase and low GGT. That is equaling low zinc. IgE, food sensitivities, environmental allergies and sensitivities, high histamine or mast cell action, low vitamin C. These are things that we can see in the blood work that can give us clues around parasites. So let's dig into what are the most common parasites that we see. So I'm going to be talking about families of parasites, and these families, they can be broken down into individual parasites. We're not going to do that today. We don't have time for it. But let's talk about strongyloids. This is a very common one that I see. They like to hang out in the stomach, in the kidneys, in the lymph, in the lungs, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, and small intestine. These buggers are not fun, and they're very small, right? Cystoids. These are attracted to the tissue in the large intestine and the brain. Sporozoa. These guys migrate to the stomach, kidneys, lymph, brain, joints, and small intestines. Let's talk about nematodes or roundworms. These are, especially when we start working on parasites with a client, sometimes these are the first ones that we see come through in the stool. But they can be found in the gallbladder, liver, lungs, brain, large intestine, and bladder. Protozoa. These guys really like small spaces. They like the bladder, joints, large intestine, stomach, lymph, brain, lungs, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, and small intestine. So let's talk about how they harbor root causes. Let's get really real about this, right? This is our lives we're talking about. So parasites act as a holding place or a safe environment for bacteria, other parasites, toxins, and yeast within the human body. In the functional medicine and integrative medicine world, we know that these are often the root causes of autoimmune, neurological, and mental illness, right? We know this. So I want to talk about 2 different case studies that I'm working with right now. So first of all, Pat, I want to tell you a little about her. She's had MS for over 30 years. For most of those years, she has not had much feeling in her hands. Her feet have been completely numb. Her eyesight, she had so many floaters. Her eyesight has been a real battle for her. She has not had normal bowel movements since she was a young child. She had major leg spasms as to bad enough that she couldn't really control them. Very, very bad depression. It was something that she dealt with daily. Muscle tone was completely gone, of course. She's been in a wheelchair for quite some time. And this is what she's experiencing after addressing full picture, right? We don't just address parasites as one thing. We address the whole body and address parasites at the same time. So this is what she's experiencing right now. She's got full feeling back in her hands, which she thought would never happen. And to be honest, because it was so many years, I didn't think it would happen. Feeling is returning to her feet. She's ticklish again. She's able to move her feet again on her own, under her own power. Circulation is becoming more, it's flowing better, so she doesn't have her feet aren't as purple and blue and cold. Her eyesight is improving. She's having normal bowel movements without supplements. That's like never happened for her since she was a kiddo. Less leg spasms. They've really toned down. She's able to sleep a lot better. Her depression is lifted, and she's beginning to walk into her own strength. Her muscle tone is starting to return. She's doing very targeted exercises to be able to strengthen those and regain her balance, because her goal is to walk. And I think she's going to get it done. She's doing amazing. So let's talk about Mandy. Mandy was diagnosed with MS about 6 years ago. She has been in a wheelchair for about two and a half years, something like that. But we're really working on parasites for her. We worked on all the other pieces so that her body was ready to address this from a place of strength. And her strength is coming back. She's getting to the place where she's practicing standing, like just holding something so she doesn't lose her balance, practicing standing, doing gentle leg bends. She has markedly less spasms. Her spasms were so bad that she had to use belts to keep herself in her wheelchair. She doesn't have to do that now. She can bend over, come back up. She's able to lift her legs up. Weak ankles are gaining stability. That is a big thing for her to be able to support her body. Bowel movements are regulating. Depression is lifting. Oh my goodness. It's so amazing to see this for her. Brain fog is gone. Her energy is returning. She's doing things around the house, making food and picking things up and things that she just didn't have the energy to do. Being able to serve her community. She's just so excited. And she's literally exercising to walk. I love that. Are all cases like this when we see parasites? No, they're not always like this. Let me just bring in one other case study that I've been working with, and she has fibromyalgia, right? So that's a big disease process, and that takes a lot of work to really look at the whole body, address the whole body. And we've been working together for, probably about 6 months now. And she was so tired. The fatigue and pain was so bad. She couldn't even think about, she really had to budget her energy and what she chose to do in the day. She actually texted me yesterday that she started her own business. And she's already got 3 clients, doing something that just fills her heart with joy. But she couldn't do that unless she had the energy and the brain clarity. Her pain is nearly completely gone. She's able to move much better. Her body is just in such a better place, as well as her mind. So these are just examples of things that can happen when you address parasites in the body. And I suggest doing that as a whole body approach. It's something that we need to really prepare the body to do. And like I was saying just a minute ago, approach this place from a space of strength in your body. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate this opportunity to share with you. Take care. And if I can be of service to you, please contact me. I always do a free discovery call for everyone that is interested in working with our team. Have an amazing day.